Hi everyone, and welcome to the Bureau of Freedom. My name is Sasha, and this is episode 5. Philip K. Dick wrote, "Kipple is useless objects, like junk mail, or match folders after you use the last match, or gum wrappers, or yesterday's homeopape. When nobody's around, Kipple reproduces itself." Trust Phil Dick to get it right. In his book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which was the basis of the film Blade Runner, the universe's greatest mindfuck sci-fi paranoid novelist defined the word Kipple. It was the junk that builds up in our lives that eventually ends up strewn across our living rooms, reproducing in our offices. It's the shit we trip over in the corridor at night while groggily heading to the loo to take a piss. In the post-apocalyptic setting of Electric Sheep, the world is all but totally covered with the kipple that has been accumulated by the long history of human consumerism. All the gadgets and thingamabobs and fads and tchotchkes and, if he'd been alive for them, fidget spinners. For a lot of us, life and modern Western society essentially turns us into kipple generation machine. In order to fill the void of our soulless rat race jobs, we collect stuff, things, junk. I was, and to be honest, am still the same. Books, DVDs, CDs, Blu-rays, games, figurines, posters, kitchen gadgets, shot glasses, beer steins, paraphernalia from every category of human recreation littered my various places of abode. And I do mean various. In my 20s and 30s, I moved a lot. 15 times in 15 years, in fact. Right now, I think I'm at 17 times in 19 years. I moved states with my job. I moved countries at every midlife breakdown I had as I tried to become free. If there's one thing that becomes blindingly obvious when you move so often is that kipple is a fucking pain in the ass. One small moving box of books weighs a metric fuckton. And when you spend half a day packing away things that you realise you haven't used since removing them from the previous packing box, you begin to get the message. You don't need kipple. The famous philosopher Tyler Durden said, "The things you own end up owning you." Preach it, oh wise mentally ill fictional character. Eventually, I ended up with a philosophy of kipple management. Chuck it. In Aussie parlance, that means throw it away. Eventually, after a decade of moving, I fought the hoarder in me and started getting extremely strict about what I moved from one place to another. Books got replaced by a Kindle. Sure, I love paper books, the smell, the ability to flip through them, and, well, really none of that is any excuse to carry them around when one Kindle reader can store 1,000,000 of the fuckers. As someone pointed out once, if reading technology had gone in the opposite direction, that is, we had electronic readers that held millions of books, and someone came along and said, "Hey, what about we just take one of those books, chop down some trees, cut them up, treat them with chemicals and machines until they're white and flat, then use poisonous ink to write the book onto them, package them up into a heavy folder, and market them as being tactile and a sensory alternative to electronic books?" They would have been locked into the loony bin. Chuck it. Same with music and movies. We live in the goddamn future. You can download and stream that shit these days. Chuck it. You don't need 37 pairs of shoes. You don't need hundreds of shirts and dresses and jackets and driving gloves and racing beanies and 18th century silk genital scarves. Chuck them. You need a computer and maybe a tablet, a smartphone, a week's worth of clothing, options for different climates. When you buy something new, chuck something old. When I moved to France, I had a backpack, a satchel that held my CPAP machine, because basically that thing keeps me alive at night, so I can't really chuck it, and 2 small suitcases. I had an Xbox One and a PC in them. I used the PC, I thought I needed the Xbox, haven't used it since I've got here. It gets chucked at the next move. I bought a monitor when I arrived. I didn't carry one around. The rest of the space, again, it was 2 small suitcases, mostly taken up by a PC and an Xbox. The rest of the space was the clothes I had and still have. I've replaced maybe 2 t-shirts in the last year and a few undies. That's it. When I travelled back to Oz for a month, I had 1 backpack and the CPAP. I worked on my iPad, remote desktoping back to my PC if absolutely necessary. And let me tell you, you have no idea how awesome and free it feels to travel 16,000 kilometers each way with only a backpack. Being free means being kipple free. Chuck it.